And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Saddie Moffat, who writes, "Hey, John, I just wanted to say that I love the show and have been watching for 3 years this week." Well, apparently you've been watching since Rob started on my show, so there you go. I just want to say I've been watching for 3 years this week. Anyway, I absolutely love Suicide Squad. James Gunn and the whole cast delivered a great movie. Now, I'm not saying that I change anything, but I read a story where Gunn said that he originally started writing it as the Suicide Squad versus Superman. Now, that's all I can think about. Do you think the movie would have been even better if the Suicide Squad was going after Superman? All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, listen, you've heard us talk about Suicide Squad a bunch the last couple of weeks. This movie is fucking fantastic. This movie's unbelievably good. It's still not my favorite DCU movie. That still belongs to Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. But I think it surpassed, you know how much I love Shazam, Rob. I love that movie more than most people, but it actually surpassed Shazam. I love the first Wonder Woman. It passed Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Justice League, either version, Batman versus Superman. I think Suicide Squad is the second best DCU movie ever made. Just a damn fun time at the theater. What's really interesting is one thing that people pulled out a lot of the first trailer is when you hear Amanda Waller saying, "This is Deadsport. He's in here for hospitalizing, putting Superman in the ICU with a kryptonite bullet." That got a lot of people talking. Well, apparently that little reference was really just a carryover from an earlier idea that James Gunn had for doing Suicide Squad, the movie. This comes to us from, and I don't have the graphic lined up here. Anyway, at any rate, what he basically ends up saying is, what James Gunn says is, he says this. He goes, "When I started watching the Suicide Squad, one idea was that they would fight Superman. The Suicide Squad has to catch Superman for some reason. That was all. Just a vague idea. It's gotten out of hand or is being controlled by someone. And then this group of lousy supervillains has to face the most powerful hero in the world." And that was an interview with James Gunn talking about that. And again, Rob, I don't know what came first. I don't know, because we see that Suicide Squad game that's coming, that's got Suicide Squad versus Superman. So I don't know if that idea came first or if James Gunn actually had this idea first and then it kind of spread to the video game, whatever. But the notion of the Suicide Squad having to try to fight Superman is hilarious to me. Now, of course, this would be a very one-sided fight. Now, you can make the argument, of course, that, hey, man, Batman's just a regular human being and he beat Superman. True, but he's Batman. Anything short of Jesus, Batman usually wins because he's Batman. But I mean, I don't know what chance a Suicide Squad would have of that, but it would be infinitely hilarious. But look, at the end of the day, I'm like you, Sadie. I thought that this movie was almost perfect just as it was. But I would be so down if Warner Brothers announced, Rob, that, okay, despite box office results, which we will talk about in the next topic, but despite box office results, the audience loved this movie so much, we're going to do another one, because by then they're going to be under Discovery, and maybe the CEO of Discovery is going to be like, yep, let's do another one, and this time, James, come on back, run with your Superman idea. I would be completely down with it. I'm glad they didn't do it in this one, but I personally would have been completely down for it. Rob, you hear that James Gunn kind of originally had this idea for a Suicide Squad of them fighting Superman. Do you think that's an avenue they should have pursued? Do you think it's something they could do later on? Do you think it was a good idea that they changed directions for this current movie? What are your thoughts when you hear about this?
I tend to think that it was a good idea not to pursue a storyline with Superman, because I think Superman would overshadow the Suicide Squad itself. And it would have been, I think, as moviegoers, we would have been given more of the Suicide Squad in the movie than we got of Superman. And I think people would have said, I wish we could see more of Superman. But maybe also you run into the same problem that you run into with every Superman story, which is, how could these villains possibly, like King Shark would choke on Superman? He couldn't bite Superman in half. What's King Shark going to do? And I do think that Superman's still overpowered. I mean, one kryptonite bullet fired from a long way away that Superman wasn't aware of, and you get lucky. Okay, but what does the rest of the squad do then? So I think it's probably best they didn't go down that route. However, I do like the idea of it. I would like to have seen that story play out somewhere. So maybe that's what they could do. Well, we'll talk about it later if there'll ever be another sequel to Suicide Squad. But I mean, it's something that's definitely intriguing to me.
I love the way James Gunn phrased it, though, when he said, because it's not just this hardcore Suicide Squad fighting Superman. No, it's Superman, the mightiest being in the universe, fighting a lousy group of supervillains. There's something inherently comedic about that could really work well. Again, I don't know how they would go. By the way, can I bring up this graphic one more time? Ray made I love this graphic that Ray made. I just think everything about this graphic is so good. That makes me want to see the movie even more. Anyway, I think that notion about portraying them as like the worst supervillains trying to take on Superman, there's something incredibly funny about that. And if it means, we all know James Gunn really likes Henry Cavill as Superman, it would have meant more Henry Cavill as Superman, which is also a good thing. But I don't know. The question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Hearing that James Gunn's original idea for Suicide Squad was to have Superman be their foil and they were going to have to fight Superman. I think there's a lot of potential there from that. Maybe they'll do it in the future. Who knows? Question is, what do you guys think about that? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.